Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to the show, especially this one.
Yes.
Because we have somebody that I've been wanting to get on the show for quite some time, and we are lucky enough that he's got a little bit of a break in between his busy touring schedule. Guess who are you?
I'm Henry from the band Starcrawler.
Right on. Henri Cash from Starcrawler.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. We've gotten quite a few requests for you, which was cool. I talked quite a bit about when we played in December, and after that, then it was like, get him on the show, and I'm like, I'm trying. So,
Rad.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a really fun time tonight. Henry, for those who, strangely enough, may not be familiar with you, where can they go to check out the things that you're doing while they're listening?
They can go on Spotify, I guess. I don't know. That would be a weird thing to listen twice, but YouTube probably is the best way for people to learn about new stuff.
Okay. I know. May I
where
point
do you
them to
go
Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah, go check out Henri Cash on Instagram. Don't worry, I got this, Henry. Go to.
I'm not the marketing guy.
Henry's got a great Instagram and also Starcrawler. By way of Henry, go to Starcrawler and you can check out all the things that he's got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to a gear nut just like ourselves. And Henry is actually pushing the boundaries on the gear nut ism. So we're going to dip deep into that. So please go check out what he looks like, what he's about, and that'll inform you as you're listening. Unless you're driving, don't do that.
Don't do that.
First of all, we got just a quick announcement I wanted to share. Actually, two quick announcements I wanted to share. And then we're going to dip into what's going on in our music worlds this week. So, Henry, hang on here 1 second. We do have this announcement. This is from one of our supporters, actually. And this was a supporter that we mentioned just the other day on a previous episode. He said, "Hello, Knobs. I wanted to say I've been listening for a few years now. I went through your back catalog first." Well, don't go too far back, I guess. Anyways, I was listening to episode 328 on my way to work. It made my day to hear you guys congratulate me on winning the Copper Sounds DIY giveaway. Yay. Yeah. Congratulations, Brad, for that. I'm finishing up my bachelor's in electronic engineering, so I don't quite have time to work on building a pedal. However, I only have another month to go. I'm sure I'll share what I come up with. Thank you for this amazing podcast. Well, thank you, Brad, for supporting us and for sharing that note. It's when we give things away, we hope that they're going into the right hands, which is one of the reasons that when we give stuff away, we try to give it away to our patrons, because you guys obviously care enough about the show, and we think you should get the stuff. I think that's only fair.
Yes.
So we're not going to go like trolling for numbers and stuff and just on Instagram and to the masses of some hoo-ha that may not give a crap about what they're getting. No. We don't do that here.
Is that a technical term?
It is.
Okay.
Also, speaking of giveaways, we just recorded a couple videos. We're giving away a bunch more stuff.
Oh, great
So
stuff.
we'll be releasing those videos out. So stay watching on Instagram, everybody.
That's right.
And let's see here. Let's get into what's going on in our music world this week with the lovely, just nice-faced. Can you just be nice-faced today? Nice-faced.
Nice-faced. That does not sound good.
Nice-faced Tanya Bolonsky. Go ahead.
Wow. That was a brief introduction, but I will accept it.
I appreciate
because
that.
it was certainly nice.
Yeah.
This week, Todd, I think I shared a photo of this with you.
Yes.
To you. From you to you. And in the mail today, I got my copy of Set the Boy Free, Johnny Marr, the autobiography.
Yes, and this poster is right behind you.
Oh, that's right. It is right up
Henry, can I assume that you're a Johnny Marr fan?
Oh yeah.
So I just thought this, I started just kind of perusing through it, and it looks like it's going to be a good read.
That's a big book.
It's a big book, and it's a hardcover. Now, I'll give you my full rundown after I read it, but here's an Amazon tip
Okay.
for those who love books or records or anything else out there. If you go to Amazon and you I said, oh, okay, I'd like to check this book out, and
It's not a library.
it's
I don't
not.
know if you're aware of that.
No, I would like to read this book. I do not want to check it out.
Yes.
Amazon only had softcover editions available. Now, if you and I like hardcover books,
I do too.
they just feel better.
I agree.
And so if you scroll down underneath the initial item that you put in there, and there's usually something either from other sellers
Right.
or used, things like that, you can get some very good deals. I've gotten a gazillion of them.
I mean, you can get them for like dollars.
Yes, I got this book. Now, this is the hardcover is $28.99 list. And I think Amazon softcover price was like $15 or $16.
You don't want no soft cover.
I got this. The book is like new. It's a hardcover edition, and it was like $3 plus $3.99
Yeah.
shipping.
I'm telling you, that's the way to go.
So
Absolutely.
look, don't always snap at that thing that says free Prime shipping, because sometimes if you go down, you can find a used edition. And for me, books, I generally read. I keep most of the books that I buy, but you read them and then you shelve them, and
Yeah.
so there's
I think there's a little bit of magic in getting a used book is a little bit like a used guitar, honestly. I
Yeah.
think it's because and a lot of people make notes and stuff, or they leave bookmarks, and it's to this person, and I've got many usually older books.
Well, back
older novels.
when I was in college, I used to always go to the bookstore and get try to find the book that had the stuff highlighted already, so you already knew what.
That is smart.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of books, Henry, you spent a lot of time in Nashville, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get a chance next time, there's a place, if you haven't already been there, it's called the Patterson House. And
No, I haven't been there.
it's basically like a speakeasy.
Oh.
And but it's sort of set like you're in this library. And when you finish the meal, they bring you a book. And in the book is the bill. And they just pull a random book off the shelf. But everybody writes stuff in the book, which is kind of neat because you can see what other guests have said and all that stuff. It's kind of fun.
Was it the butler with the candlestick?
No, it was the waiter
Ah.
with the bill. Anyways, all right. On to our illustrious guest, Henri Cash. What's going on in your music world this week?
Not a crazy amount, but still, we're trying to record every day. We just got back a couple days ago, so we loaded all our stuff back into our studio, and we're just trying to record every day, trying to make a job out of it a little bit. Force yourself to do stuff even if it's not flowing or whatever it is that day,
Yeah.
Other than that, just getting stuff. We have a little bit over a month off, a little bit less than a month off, so we're just getting road cases fixed and amps repaired and all that stuff that you don't get to do while you're out there.
Yeah.
So that whole thing.
Cool. So just keeping it loose, keeping it extra, keeping your muscles warm and junk.
Yeah, it's cool because, we just went out and we were out for so long playing the same songs over and over. And so, like, every day now we'll try to get together and just jam, which is super fun because we get super tight from playing these, same songs, but then getting to go into super weird stuff that nobody will ever get to hear it's like stretching your muscles or something.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good way to put that. Hey, speaking of, I had a 1-day tour last week.
Oh yeah, how far was the drive?
About 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
I mean,
great.
How do you do it?
I'm telling you, man, life on the bus is
Yeah.
Did you know what town you were in?
it was a blur. It was a blur. It was a blur.
We overnighted from Spokane, Washington, back to LA. Just right
Jeez.
after our set, we were like, let's get out of here. 18 hours.
Wow.
Drive through the night. There's 3 of us driving, so 3 shifts, and we survived. So
That's it.
it's
Well,
always
yeah,
nice.
that is a nice thing. I did survive my trip to my 1-day tour last week. We played one of the local venues down here, and it had been a while because we'd been struggling with our bass player who has moved to. Where's Raleigh? Is that North or South Carolina? North Carolina.
North.
I should know that by now. I have to talk to him all the time there.
Boy, did he hate the band that much that he had to move that far away?
Well, work took him, and then he was like working in Portugal half the time, and I'm like,
wow.
we're all in limbo.
Wow.
I'm like, what's going on? Which was a really bummer coming off of the high that we had when we played with Henry. We were like, hey, yeah, well, let's keep this going. So, anyways, we got stuff recorded, we got stuff, out. It's being published and everything right now. But
Good stuff.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Our drummer's from North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's from
Well,
Greensboro.
maybe we might have talked to him about that. He's a lovely dude.
Oh yeah, he's a fun guy.
He's a great guy. Anyways, so one of the things, Henry, when we were with you, I showed you that custom guitar that I had made.
Yeah.
And
with the gold pickguard.
yeah, and
know
you
a
probably you probably didn't want to say like, my God, what's wrong with you? Why is this so heavy? But I was saying that too inside, and so we had just gutted the backside of it
Oh, wow.
from the builder, and I got it back. And so this was my first time playing it in several months, and it was right out in the show, and I had such a blast with it because I didn't feel like I had like cement boots on anymore. Like I could move.
How much did it weigh before?
It was 10 pounds.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
That's a
got
heavy
it down.
guitar.
We got it down to I think like 7.3.
Wow, that's a lot of weight off.
It's a lot of weight off, and it all came out of the back. I mean, it was solid mahogany, and
Oh, yeah.
it's
It's a heavy wood.
It is. It's still not. It's a good. It's a little on the heavy.
Not for
Maybe
the faint of heart.
It might be 7.5 or 7.6 closer maybe. Anyways, point being is I felt liberated, and it was really nice because I was playing a guitar that I love to play, and I didn't feel weighed down by it. And then on the backside, right before the show, Chase had asked me a couple weeks ago. He said, "Hey, what's your favorite lyric from your songs?" And I said. I told him which one I thought it was, and he goes, "That's correct." And so I was thinking, oh, he likes that song too, or something like that. Well, what he ended up doing was on the back, he's got like a spine, like a separator in between the two pieces. A strip in between the two caps on the back, and he wrote that line in the burst and then lacquered it, and I was like, oh man, that was such a sweet touch. Well, right before the show, we're about to go on, and I pulled Leah, our singer, real close, and I flipped the guitar around and showed it to her, and she just like started to well up, and that was just really cool going on stage right before that.
Is that because she forgot the words?
Yes.
Now you just have to flip the guitar over.
I tell you what, I'm really lucky because she never forgets the words, never, and that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
And I was also able to bring up Jerry.
Jerry.
Now, Henry,
Jerry.
when we last saw you, I also had a black Hagstrom with the matching gold pickguard.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up getting a gold Hagstrom, and I put a black sparkle pickguard on it.
Oh, nice.
And I was trying to figure out what we're going to name it. And so I had put these stickers on, kind of old style, like, when 50s guys put their names all over the guitars and everything.
Yeah.
And I put it on the pick guard. It's little. It's not huge.
It's tasteful.
It's tasteful, yes. But it says Jerry.
Oh, nice.
Do you know why it says Jerry?
Big style letters?
Yeah, kind of almost like a car scripty kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Rad.
And those are in gold sparkle, on black sparkle, on a gold guitar. But do you know why it says Jerry?
Why does it say Jerry?
It's from Seinfeld.
Oh, nice.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Oh, yeah.
And I got quite a few people saying like, "What? Who's?" I thought, "Is this your guitar? It's not your guitar, wasn't it?" So I got to tell them the joke, and it was really funny. Anyways,
It's your Seinfeld guitar.
yes.
Funny
You watch
Nintendo-
Curb too?
Oh yeah, of course. I think I'm actually becoming Larry David. So love Curb.
Me too.
So anyways, that was my music week.
Even though I didn't ask you about it.
You didn't ask me. You didn't have to. I just rolled right into it.
You just rolled right into
I
it.
knew Henry was going to carry me.
Yeah. Well, my one question is, do
yeah.
you get the reverse of that pickguard as well?
Oh yeah, it's gold. It's black sparkle.
Black and gold sparkle.
It's black plastic with gold sparkle in it.
No, it's actually the black and gold glitter material has flakes of black.
Oh,
with
it
flakes
does?
of gold. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you just made that story far less interesting.
Yeah.
So
kind of like your joke.
that's fair. Fair play. Anyways,
gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Yeah. So anyhow, that was super fun, and we got lots to talk about Henry. This is a show about Henry,
Yes.
not about me and you, Tony. So
or
if you
Jerry.
could just clam it up for just a
All
second.
right, I'll be quiet. I'll sit here like a nice boy.
We need to call out a very specific thing because I'll tell you what, Henry has a couple of pretty amazing pedal boards, and we'll be talking about those later. But Henry, if you're not aware, something you might opt to try are the Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Oh, yes.
That's
Tasty.
the ones that are all over my board, and loads of people that come on the show, we get them into those. They are the nice thing about them, Henry, is that they have a super, super low profile.
They're petite.
They're petite.
Oh,
so
cool.
like I guess the size of the actual jack is literally the size of like the nut on the actual jack.
Maybe
So it's-
smaller.
It might be smaller. So it's not like the pancakes or the big squares
Gotcha.
where they're banging into each other and stuff. And it's flat. So it when you bend it, it doesn't twist up and it doesn't kink it. Mm-hmm.
nice.
And Henry, this is so important. You can go from a top mount jack to a side mount jack. They have S-shaped ones and C-shaped ones.
And
So many different lengths for these big boards, just like you have. I'm telling you, Henry, these are the kind of things you might need, my man.
if you go to the Tour Gear Designs website and place an order and load up your shopping cart, and you go to check out, there's a spot there that says coupon code. If you type in the guitar knobs, that's all lowercase, all one word, you're going to save an extra 10%.
10%. Henry, does this sound like a good deal?
It sounds like a good deal. I'm cutting my own cable though.
Yes. But if you weren't,
But if I
Let's
wasn't,
just say it
let's
someday.
just say they made
let's
pink
just say I
ones.
wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Or if they made a parts kit.
Or if they made a parts kit, then yes.
Yeah.
And let's just say they don't. If they don't, and you're cutting your own, I recommend it to somebody who isn't doing that.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I knew you'd see things our way. All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
We need to say a huge thank you to Tour Gear Designs Patch Cables for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. All right. Henri Cash, the great. Well, you can either put that before the Henry or after the Cash.
Oh, yeah,
It's
you
up to
could
you
do
how
that.
you want to use that, Henry. But tell us, what is your 4 on the floor?
My 4 on the floor is, I'm probably going to start with my Red Llama pedal made by Way Huge. It's been my go-to kind of like dirt sound for, I don't know, maybe like 5 years now. But I heard about it through some, it's the same, it's half of the camel toe pedal and I knew the camel toe pedal was the one that Mike Campbell was using.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that sounded really cool. And then I got it because it's basically just supposed to sound like a small Fender amp that's just being pushed a little bit. And when we were playing all these festivals where the amps were the new reissue Fenders, they needed a little bit of help, extra juice. And it does it really well. And so that's my number one pretty much. And if you haven't tried it, try it out.
It's a pink llama though, right?
Mine is pink.
Yes. Okay.
And George sent me over the graphics for it to say pink llama instead of red llama.
That's amazing.
Which is pretty cool. I just need to get it screened.
I love that.
But yeah, amazing pedal. I have currently 10 way huge pedals sitting here on the floor right now with me because I'm recording and just messing around with stuff. But the next, of the four has to be a Big Muff. And I've used so many variations of the Big Muff. I have, the way huge Big Muff right here. I have a Earthquaker, the hoof, and the JHS Big Muff, and the new Electro Harmonics Big Muff, and an old Russian one. And I'm trying to, at the moment, with a friend of mine, make another version of a Big Muff that's voiced to my specific needs.
Uh-huh.
Nothing original, but just something consistent.
Right.
Just have a couple of them that are also pink.
So, let's talk about those needs really quick.
Yeah.
What do you find that you think you need to adjust to accommodate you?
Well, it's just the brand new Big Muffs. When I was 14 or probably younger than that, 13 or 12, I got the standard big box reissue Big Muff, and that was really cool. And then I used that on our first record, and then I went to a miniature one, and then I went to the JHS one and the way huge one, and then I used the Earthquaker one for a long time. And there were just certain voicings about each one of them that I liked, and it's just about picking which voicings. It's certain things I like about one and certain things I like about the other, but both can't do the same thing. And so just kind of mixing the sounds a little bit into one thing.
Have you checked out any of the Wren and Cuff line?
No, I've heard they're amazing though.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like his thing.
His domain.
His domain. And in the custom, he does the custom shop version of those, which has all the different high and low and cream and all that stuff.
Yep.
It just I obviously
Yeah.
you're gonna build something, but yeah, I mean if you get a chance to check those out, those are pretty fantastic pedals.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
Let's see here. How about number 3?
Number 3 would have to be the main pedal that's in all of my guitars that I play live, and it's a treble booster made by my friend Chris at R2R Electric.
Yes.
And even though I said that third, that's obviously pretty close to number 1 since it's the only one that's in the guitars.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just hit that.
How does the because I have one of the amp top versions.
Oh yeah.
And do you think it sounds any different being inside the guitar, or you think it's about the same as having an outboard unit?
I think it's about the same. I had one before I had it in my guitars. I would just have it as the first thing that the guitar saw.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed when I put it anywhere else in the chain, I wasn't as happy with it. And then I already had just a boost in the guitar at that point. And I thought, I'm not using the one in the guitar.
Yeah.
Why don't I just put the treble booster in the guitar? That way I have the access for when I'm doing a solo, just hit a switch on the guitar and be able to boost there. And it just made my whole thing a lot easier. Weirdly, and it gets you that kind of like Brian May thing with the treble booster.
Well, yeah, Chris has graced us with 2 episodes that we've had him on. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are wondering what's this R2R stuff that he's talking about, go back into our catalog, and we're going to tell you exactly which ones they are. Tony's going to dig that up while we're talking. It's anyways.
He's a true genius and a great player as well. I mean, the guy rips, and he also has replaced a bunch of pots in my guitars. So, like, the newest guitar I have, he wired it up. He did the wiring harness, and then it was built after that.
Oh, nice.
Because he has a collection of a bunch of old parts, old capacitors, old pots. And you wouldn't think that would make so much of a difference, but it really does. Just old pots sound so much better when you're rolling off the volume and tone a little bit. But yeah,
and
Chris, man,
yeah, and if you are thinking about getting something from Chris, it's one of those, there's a handful of people out there that we've had on a show, and I know that there's others, but Chris, Reeves, and you get people like Analog Man. Anytime those guys are posting anything, it's like you literally have to. It's almost like getting first row tickets back before. Everything was online. Where if you're first, you're gonna get it. If you're not, you're not gonna get it. And they are pretty amazing instruments.
And for those of you who are following along and would like to find the R2R episodes, the first time Chris was on was episode 209 from February of 21. And the most recent one was episode 304, also from February of 23.
Aha, that's right. Now I remember. I remembered before you told me, Tony, just for the record.
I know. But, I like to fact check you anyhow.
Yeah. So, all right, last one.
The last one is the Digitech Drop.
Okay.
Which I use a bunch with 3-string guitar because I play 3-string guitars for half our set, and having the ability to change keys and drop down to an octave has proved very beneficial to opening up the options for a limited amount of strings and such. Yeah.
Now, did you at any point were you using like the full whammy?
No, I have one. I had it on a board for a second, but I was never a wah or whammy guy. I'm not that good of a soloist, I feel like you got to be really good to pull that off and make it sound good,
Yeah, I do.
And also, it's really hard. If you play a Digitech whammy, you're either going to sound like Tom Morello or Jack White,
Mm-hmm.
And they have that taken care of. They don't need me, so I'm not going to get anywhere near as good as they make it sound. It's kind of like a Strat. It's the reason why I don't play Strats, because you play a Strat and it just sounds like you're almost trying to be as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, and also because they're just. I'm not a fan of Strats, and everybody who listens to the show knows that. But I agree with you, Henry. Well, cool. Thank you so much for sharing those 4. I know you probably get quite a bit of questions about that because of what some of the things we'll talk about. As far as what is actually on your board, and I think maybe just addressing that like right away. Everything is pink.
Everything is pink,
and
the knobs have no labeling.
Right. Yes, but you are using a switcher system, which is
Yeah.
probably helps you out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using the same pedals for, I don't know, 4 or 5. Nothing's changed really in 5 years, so I know where I want all the levels to be.
Right.
So I know what all the knobs do just by looking at them for so long. But if anything new came into the mix, it might cause some issues.
Yeah. Now, when you were messing around, you were talking about in the studio. How much do you kind of guard the sound you have versus just saying like, "Hey, I'm open to everything"?
I'm open to everything except everything,
Right.
No, I'm open to a bunch of. I love tube amps. I love old solid state amps, like weird PVs and stuff, and the magnetones and Gaiatone and all the weird amps. I have a bunch of tiny of the like shitty '90s solid state Fenders that I really love, like the Broncos and like the Sidekicks.
Mm-hmm.
I love all those, but I'm not too into like the Kemper thing.
Yeah.
I've tried it, but I just feel like there's something. I mean, it might work with if you have a speaker in the room and you're not just DIing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like you lose a little bit of that amp in a room vibe.
Yeah.
However, I do really like the Universal Audio Deluxe amp, the fake amp in there.
Right.
Sounds pretty good. But even with that one, you stack it a bunch and it starts to sound like fake amps.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
It is the universal conundrum and question.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love all sorts of types of pedals and guitars. I'm pretty open to anything there. Just a real amp helps, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, let's segue into your amps. When I know you've added and maybe even subtracted a few, but I know that when we were playing with you, you had Voxes and Fenders, at least on your side. And I know the other guitar player in the band, Bill, is some of those are also his and stuff. So where are you sitting with your amps right now?
So at the moment, I have it switches up. I'm trying to find something that is more stable as a backline option. So when I don't have my amps, I can go and get something and know what I'm getting every time.
Right.
But I also feel like part of that just never is going to happen no matter what you get, because backline companies often just don't take care of equipment. But for years, I've been using, I have a Fender Vibroverb, a 64, that was flooded out and then got replaced a bunch of stuff. Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, Seth, can you be quiet? Oh, yeah. Close the door. Sorry.
Yeah, Seth.
Take that.
Yeah. Sorry, the guys just came in for a rehearsal starting in like 30 minutes. But
and in how long?
All good. They're in another room.
Oh,
so
got it. Okay,
it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, my main amp's been my 64 Vibroverb, and when I got it, it was flooded out in Arizona for $500, and it didn't work. But then I took it to this amp tech, Bob Dixon, in Los Angeles, and he basically rebuilt it with a bunch of old parts and an Eminent speaker, and it's amazing. It's probably one of my favorite amps. And in between, I've used a Bandmaster head and cab, and then a Showman head and cab. I love the original blackface Fender circuits.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of just where my first amp was, a Super Reverb. And so
your first amp was a Super Reverb?
Yeah, it was the first amp I got.
Wow.
I wanted to get it. I wanted to get a twin reverb, but my dad convinced me to get a Super. It's 10-inch speakers.
Yeah.
And so I went that way. I I come from a family of musicians, and I grew up around music. There's a picture of me where I couldn't even walk, and I'm just sitting in front of a tweed basement, just like leaning up against it.
Nice.
But yeah, super reverb. It was super heavy, but super loud. But I love the 10-inch speakers. Sounds great. But yeah, the vibroverb is great, but you can't get a backline vibroverb.
Right.
And some of the new Fender backline is kind of iffy. I mean, it's mostly reliable. It's definitely way more reliable than the Voxes that I started using
Really?
like a year ago. Yeah, because Voxes run so hot. I love my Voxes, but I've had maybe in a year and a half of backlining Voxes, I've had one good one.
Wow.
You just get to wherever you get to, and because they run hot and aren't taken care of, they just don't sound good when you get there, and it's a real bummer.
Yeah, you just have to bring a case of EO84s with you.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna backline a cab, and my friend Adam at Satellite is making me a scamp-sized neutron head, and I think that's the way to go, because on our last record, I actually was borrowing a few amps from Adam, and the neutron's on a lot of the record.
Yeah, we've had Adam on the show, and I just recently saw your post about that. I was like, "Oh, sweet, he got a little pink satellite. That's awesome."
And then for the Fender, I've been on this last tour. I linked up with Magnetone and got this stereo Twilighter, and it's one of the best sounding new, amps from the factory that I've got. It just sounds like an old amp, like an old Fender amp. Something about it, and the stereo vibrato is really cool. So I've been using that instead of the vibroverb recently, just because I'm trying to take care of the vibroverb because I love it so much. And when whatever comes out gets tubes go and stuff like that. So I'm trying to tour with some newer stuff and stuff that if it gets stolen wouldn't break my heart as much.
Yeah,
that's smart.
I can understand that. That's got to be tricky to be switching around. Like, you mentioned, I'm playing with Voxes. Wait, no, I'm not playing with Voxes. Well, wow, that's a big change in the sound.
No, totally.
Yeah, that really is the shittiest one, because like if you're playing with a Fender amp, and you get a Fender amp that just isn't as good, but it still sounds like a Fender amp. But man, these Voxes would show up and they just wouldn't work. Like, I don't know if they wouldn't test them or anything, and then it would just cause a whole thing of issues. Because at least for me, I'm always using 2 amps. But my brother Bill, who is playing with us, he would be backlining just a Vox AC30, and then he would get totally, screwed. And so he switched over to using a super reverb recently, and then George from Way Huge made him a pedal to compensate for not having that Vox behind him that worked perfectly.
Awesome.
So,
what do you give him?
A 1-knob little dirt box thing, which is super cool.
Nice.
And then I've been using it too. It's just like it's something that might go into production at some point, but it's really cool. I hope so.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it just it sweetens it up.
It sweetens it up. It makes it sound more like a dirt amp.
Yeah.
Instead of like a clean, super or something.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Bill. Boy, that guy, he's a big drink of water, but he's so nimble back there. So for those who have not seen any pictures or video of Starcrawler in action, Bill does slide, and then
pedal steel and guitar.
Yeah. So he's he's jumping up and sitting down and jumping up and sitting down constantly, and especially on some smaller stages that we've seen, it's like how's he gonna do this? And he managed.
He figures it out, man.
Yeah.
Some nights are definitely better than others with the arrangement, because when we have our own sets where we're playing, for an hour, a little bit more than that, we try to not use the set list.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what we're going to start and what we're going to end with, but everything in the middle is kind of people are following me. And so if I'm not thinking about what song we're playing, it could be a song that he plays steel on, and then the next one's guitar, and then back at steel.
Yeah.
And it could be like him jumping up and down the whole night. But he's been great with it, and he loves it. We bought a pedal steel together because there's been a bunch of slide and stuff on our records, and I was always trying to bend behind, and I thought, cool, well, maybe if we both go in together, we'll both get good at it. I gave up after a week.
Really?
Yeah, it's so complicated, and he, got really good at it. But because, there's knee levers, 4 knee levers, 3 to 4 pedals, and then your volume pedal, and then your finger picking as well.
Right.
And you got, 10 to 12 strings.
Yeah.
And
then he switches over to a telly.
There's a lot of stuff there. It's too much going on for me. I'm more of a simple-minded player.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, it sounds like, going from 12 or 10 or 12 strings to 3 strings is a little more simple.
This whole 10 to 12 slide stuff, just give me 3. Just give me 3.
Look, can we talk a little bit about that? Because that seems to be, I think you had mentioned that you're about half of your set, you're doing 3 string, and the other half you're doing the standard 6 string. So do you find... Well, first of all, how is your 3 string tuned?
It's an open G, so it's G, D, G.
Oh, okay.
And it starts on where your A string would be. So it's like your A, D, and then G string.
Okay.
In the middle of the neck.
Do your hands feel like something's missing when you're playing, or you're used to it by now, probably?
I'm actually more comfortable. I since there's so little there, I know exactly where everything is. So I stopped thinking, and it starts just becoming instinctual.
Nice.
Because I grew up, my dad played a lot of blues, and all his guitars were set up with 13s and for slide, and they were all in open tuning. So whenever I picked up a guitar around the house as a kid, it was in an open tuning.
Yeah, perfect.
And then, which, isn't that fun for somebody who wants to learn guitar. But then I was, bashing around these guitars, and I broke a slot in the nut and ended up taking off half the strings. And so I just had the DAD part. And then I realized, oh, wait, this is like a chord. And then I was figuring out how to play all these songs just on that, which is what kind of made me, because I didn't want to be taught by my dad, because I was like, that's lame. So I needed to, figure out myself and with YouTube and stuff. And which the cool thing about that is now I see these Moog guitars, which are 3-string guitars for kids.
Yes.
And that was pretty much what I was doing. And then eventually I went, to have my own guitar, which had 11s on it. And in standard tuning, and that was cool. But I wrote so much I wrote songs as a kid on 3 strings, just because everything was easy to figure out, and I could figure out all these chords, and it was so much simpler. And when we started this band, we were pretty young, and so I had all these songs on 3 strings. So when we started, I brought the 3 string to the rehearsal, and it just did a thing. And now I keep doing it because it just does a thing. I'm not thinking like when I'm playing in a scale or something.
Mm-hmm. Do you find now, if you're writing songs for the 3-string, you use a 3-string, or are you able to jump back and forth and write a song on a 6-string and then play it on the 3-string?
Well, so like when I'm writing a song, it's like I'm usually start by just messing around, playing guitar, sitting somewhere. And it's just like whatever. When I play a three string, I'm gonna go naturally to different chord shapes and stuff like that. And so the three string songs tend to come out a certain way that's pretty cool, and then the six string songs come out a certain way, which is also pretty cool. They're just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of what you have going on, and I can only feel like this helped you guys have an edge. I mean, obviously your music is great, and I say that obviously. If you don't know, go listen, and you'll say, "Oh yes, obviously."
Yes.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not, or if you hate
not,
it,
which is fine too. Yeah. You hate it, leave a comment. People love opinions.
From this microphone, I'm gonna go with it's pretty great. And part of the thing that you have nailed so well is the entire show. And by show, I mean, that doesn't mean that everybody has to be jumping around all the time. But the show is like the package that you bring to the stage. That is your competency with each other. You seamlessly interact between each other. You have a lead singer who's just a complete demon on the stage. And then you have this, you've created this like wash of you have your own package. It's this pink, and it's not just that everything is pink. There's a lot more to it. You guys have semi revived the sort of rock country vibe, with the boots and the flares and the whole nine yards, and it doesn't. I want to make sure that this comes across as a, I mean it in a high compliment. It doesn't feel like a gimmick, because things can so easily feel like that.
Definitely.
How did all that come about? Like, where did that start?
I mean, I think as far as just how the music is, it kind of just came together because we were all into different types of music. I mean, not one of us was just into rock. We were all. Arrow's dad played in a country band, Beechwood Sparks, when she was growing up. One of my uncles were playing with a lot of country people, and but also we were listening to rock and roll. We loved AC/DC, Jack White, Kiss, and Black Sabbath, and we loved just a bunch of different types of music. So that when we would come together and try to play something, it was never fitting into a box of a certain genre. I feel like even when we tried to, we couldn't really hone down to one thing. And some of our favorite bands too, like this band X from Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of both Tony and I.
Yep.
Going to see him in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, we're huge fans of X, and I think when we got together, we were like, cool, we can maybe do something that captures all of this, kind of like how X does.
And what's cool about X is, if you listen to some of the early stuff, their music transformed over the years. And, when Billy wasn't playing with them and Dave Alvin was, it took a little more of a country twist to it. But all in all, it's just great music.
Yeah, you can't put a label on them.
No. Well, you could. I guess you could try.
Yeah,
but the minute you do that, they'll change direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like each one of them individually are so different players. Like Billy's just drawing those crazy rockabilly riffs, in between, but also kind of like a Johnny Ramone at the same time in between.
Yeah.
So like combining those two worlds, I mean, that was my favorite guitar playing because I love Brian Setzer and all the country music I'm into, Don Rich and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Johnny Ramone was my biggest influence as a kid. And so Billy Zoom is just like the combination of all that together.
Yep.
And so he is a huge influence on me and my brother.
I was just sitting there going like, wait a minute, what's there's something I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, we were at the same show in L.A. at NAMM.
Yeah, we were at the X show. Yeah.
Walking out, I was like, I got to get you on the show.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic show, and boy, the opener. Whew, I'd never seen him before. Wow, he was dynamite.
Yeah, I forget what movie he did this part of the soundtrack for, but that band he was playing with was really good too. I forget who the band was made up of, but it was other amazing musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have similar roots there. I mean, you know, we could talk all day long about that. And frankly, I think our listeners are probably tired of me doing that, actually. But you know, as you are going through, so back to how this all developed. I know you probably get asked this a lot, but it's such a prominent thing. Like, so what's with the pink?
So with the pink, when we made this new record, we'd always kind of had a color scheme, which was, you know, pinks, reds, and whites. And for this new record, we wanted to really hit the pink thing. And this was pre-Barbie movie.
Yes.
So this is before it was cool, you know? Because I always thought there was something fierce about the color pink. I loved it as a kid too. And, you know, there was something that a lot of dudes were really afraid of the color.
Yeah.
And I thought it kind of was cool because we were kind of scary a little bit. And so it'd be cool if we were packaged up kind of like a, you know, like a toy.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
You know,
and then
you just mentioned that you were scary. When you guys started out, it was you were edging more towards that, almost like theatrical scary.
Yeah, like we were. I mean, it was more just like kind of like punk in a sense. Like we were just trying to be. I don't know if we were trying to be anything, but we just were raw.
Yeah.
And you know, you start out, you're not that good, but there's all this energy. It's like when you watch. I mean, I assume there's this movie, The Decline, The Western Civilization, Part 1.
Yep.
Where, you know, you got the Black Flag, X,
Germs,
and Germs, Fear.
Yep.
And I think there was just a lot of that energy and just like pent up. Like we all hated school, and we were like, if we rehearse every day after school, maybe we could go on tour. And my dream was to drop out of school. Like that was the top of the, you know, if I get to not have to come to this place. And we went to an art school. It wasn't like there was like a football team or anything. So it was pretty relaxed at school, but I just hated being in a chair for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get up and, you know, do that and feel that energy. And so I feel like it was a lot of that. And we just kind of relaxed and gotten more into, you know, crafting songs and, you know, putting, you know, you have different emotions as you know, I mean, we were like 14, 15 when we started, and you know, now I'm 23, and so there's different emotions that hit with those, you know, age differences, I guess.
Right. Now, do you think that you're going to carry on the pink? This is the thing.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
Everything's pink, man. If I like something, it needs to be pink. And it started with, you know, oh, cool, let's get these guitars pink. And let's paint the amps. And then our tech, Brian, we did a show with Jack White. And he was like, dude, all his pedals are blue. Like, our game is down right now. They're winning. Like, oh,
right.
Fuck, man. Am I going to have to, like, take this, you know, switch your pedal apart and paint it?
Yes.
And then we did. And then we had these cables the cables I use are made by Divine Noise up in Portland.
Yeah.
And he was wrapping them in pink Tech Flex for us so they could be pink.
Yeah. He's been on the show too.
Great guy, Gil. We were just up there few days ago. And then he just this year got together some pink cable. And so now he's making some pink cable, and now we all have those pink cables. But it just became like a part of just a little bit of It's like a nervous, weird tick thing that now when something on stage isn't pink, it's like a mind freak for all of us on the crew. By that meaning me, Arrow, and Bill and our guitar tech. We're the only ones that really, have the freak out if something isn't pink. But it's weird.
I think we need to address the Gretsch in the room.
Oh yeah.
You're playing. There's nothing not unique about what you guys are doing, and at the same time, it feels very familiar, which is that crossroads that I think. I mean, just about every band wants to try to hit, where it's like, oh, we need to feel like ourselves and something new and fresh, but also not so new and fresh that people can't like just jump right in and grab onto it, which is something that you guys do so well. Your instrumentation is no stranger to that either. So you've got some pretty unique guitars that you're playing, the Gretches. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So these, I have a bunch of different types of Gretsch guitars, but the main ones that I'm playing are these ones that are made by Randy Parsons, who's out in Kansas now. And I met him, I don't know, like 6 years ago now, I think, at the NAMM show. And I told him about the whole 3-string thing, and he agreed. He thought it was a cool thing that he'd maybe want to be a part of, and he was making these back guitars at the moment. And he said that he wanted to build me one of the 3-string. And that's kind of where it all started with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this amazing 3-string from him. And then I liked it so much that I wanted a 6-string just like it so that I could switch between the two and have it be the same sound. And then just by the way that the road goes in our show, I needed backups for each one of them. And so I have 2 3-strings and 2 6-strings made by him. And Randy is an amazing builder and is so much tiny, like artistic details about each one of these guitars. Yeah. Like you were saying about how there's writing on, the back of yours and the lacquer. Randy has a bunch of hidden things in all these guitars that I don't even know about. Like there's writing everywhere. I'll take off try to go find, because they're kind of all like, something's in there. Oh, there's part of a poem in there. Something cool like that.
I love it.
And I mean, and they're great, the guitars, and then they have the treble booster in them. And that's my go-to. And it just feels so comfortable for me. These necks are really great. And then we were working with Gretsch on them to, maybe do something with them in this model. And so all that's still kind of being put in play. And we'll see when it happens. And that's kind of all I can say about it. But
sure,
it's super exciting.
Well, and I think that's where the some of the confusion is, because they say Gretsch all over them, but they're obviously Randy Parsons is up in there.
Randy's been making Gretsch style guitars for Jack White for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time when I got my first one from him, I'd been working with Fender and Gretsch pretty much exclusively. And then we thought of, I think Gretsch wanted to do something with Randy for a long time because they saw that there was a bridge there that should be done.
Right.
And it's just, those things take a long time. So we'll see. But I mean, Randy's just such an amazing builder that these guitars are like amazing wonderland guitars.
How much do you think that the sound hole? You got a really unique sound hole. I mean, at first glance, it almost looks like it's a mistake or it's broken or something because it's so interesting.
I mean, I don't know what it really, but what I do know is that with the treble booster inside the guitar, when I hit that and I face that, guitar at an amp, I use it to get feedback in a certain way. Like I
Yeah.
can play with it like you play with a semi-hollow guitar with the F holes and stuff.
Right.
And I play around with that. But as far as the science of it, I don't know, man. I'm not a science guy. I dropped out of school.
I'm not a scientist.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not an engineer. I
Yeah.
just play guitars. There's 2 of them are really light, and 2 of them are on the heavier side, which is interesting. And they all sound different. They all have the same TV Jones Powertron Plus pickup in it,
Yeah.
and the same Chris has wired this particular treble booster in them. That's all the same, and they all sound different. Just all different pieces of wood. Some of them are pine, some of them are, I think one of them's ash, and then the last one I got was made out of a church pew.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's wild.
And they just are all voiced differently, which is, the same shape. Some of them, 2 of them have a curved top, and 2 of them have like sort of just flatter tops.
Mm-hmm.
But we're trying, figure out what's the best combination there. And it was really interesting to be a part of that and get to play these guitars.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I just got on New Year's. We played a show, and this guy Daniel Slusser came, and he wanted to build me a guitar. And I told him that I pretty much liked aesthetically playing Gretsch style guitars, and I have a relationship with them and all that. And he said he'd be down to build anything that I wanted, which, you don't get that opportunity often.
Right.
So I took him up on it because I saw this guy in Japan who builds these crazy Gretsch style guitars. Like he'll take like those headstockless little square guitars, and he'll make them out to be like a vintage 6120 style. Like he'll go find old Gretsch parts and
What?
yeah, and he did the same thing with the Flying V, and like bunch of like put Gretsch Dynasonics in it and everything. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like EVH style guitars, but made all cowboy-esque.
Wow.
And then I thought it'd be so cool to have like a completely hollow Flying V with just one Filtertron and the Bigsby and everything with the treble booster inside, but like a Gretsch Naughty Pine. And he was down for it, and he built this amazing guitar that's sitting here as well that I've been using a lot lately. This Slusser Guitars is the name of his company, but it's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Now, before we just like head John out of here, what is coming up for you? What can people be paying attention to, be looking out for right now?
Well, we're always on tour, every part of the year. At least a couple weeks out of the month we'll be out there. We're always putting out music, so I guess that too. Posting on Instagram occasionally, I guess. I don't know, man. We're just another guy who likes guitars. It's probably similar to a lot of the listeners. So, yeah, just another guy to geek out with.
I appreciate that, and I think right away when I got that vibe from you, and that's I was like, okay, we can talk for sure.
Oh yeah, and I love it too. I mean, the cool thing about being on the road and stuff is I've met so many cool people at shows that are super guitar nerds, just like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my brother are so into it, and out checking the offer up every morning and that kind of thing, and just getting into vintage pedals, vintage amps, and it's just a really cool, and so far it's been a super friendly environment of really cool people, and all these builders too, like Earthquaker and all these pedal companies that have been super kind to me. And it's just been a super friendly environment, and I hope it's that way to everybody that listens to this as well. a cool escape from the regular life shit that we all have to deal with.
Well said. Well said. And with that poetic exit, we're going to go to the incredibly non-poetic and
Downright ugly.
lusty. Tanya Bolonsky is going to take us into you get a lot of custom stuff thrown at you, Henry, and this is no exception. So
extremely lucky.
Tony, go for it.
That's right, Todd. At this point of the show is a little game we like to play called Would You Rather?
He still needs some work on that. You gotta practice.
I don't practice.
You need to.
Oh.
Practice.
You hurt my feelings.
I know, I'm sorry.
This week's Would You Rather? So you're at the gig. You show up at your gig. And you're standing out front of the theater, and you get a dreaded phone call. The truck that's carrying your guitars was involved in an accident. Now, everybody's okay.
Okay, good.
But the guitars got
Bill was
damaged.
driving both trucks. That's the crazy thing.
Straddling two trucks. One left-hand drive, one right-hand drive.
Yeah, that sounds like Bill.
So, you're standing there and you're a little upset, sad maybe. You're not going to be able to play the guitars that you want to. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, the Mary Kay Cosmetics promo van
Oh, thank goodness.
has been hijacked.
Hijacked?
It's running full force, full
So they're
speed.
not coming for
No,
for-
No, it's been hijacked, and they whip around the corner and out of the back door two.
No.
Yes, two.
No.
Yes, two things fall out of the back of the Mary Kay Cosmetics promo van.
Does it sound like this?
Oh, the humanity. So, you take a walk over, and there's a kid on a bicycle that looks a little mean. And so you know that you're only going to be able to walk away with one of the packages that fell out. Package one?
So to be fair, is he like a grown man on a bicycle, shirtless in the middle of the day? Or?
He's a big kid. He's like the what was the John Cusack movie with I want my $2.
Yes.
Better off dead.
Yes.
I feel like I could take a kid though, you know? It's like emotionally.
Well, to be fair, there's
He was
two
there
packages
first.
and
Yes.
so
Gotcha.
he almost got hit by the Mary Kay Cosmetics
thank
truck
goodness.
too. So he's safe.
Yes.
It's all good. Inside, and there's two guitars. You open up these things. Lo and behold, there is a Squier Hello Kitty pink Strat.
Ooh. I already know my pick.
You don't know it yet.
Just hang on, Henry. I have a feeling the other one is just as good.
Maybe better, or maybe not. In the other one is a Loog Pro Electric 3-string guitar, also in pink.
Oh.
That one has a built-in amp and speaker. And it's tuned to GBE, just in
All
case
right.
you were wondering out there. But you can change the tune. I'll let you change the tuning.
Yeah.
So those are your two choices. But you got to play them at the gig tonight because your guitars are not going to be playable ready.
Yeah.
Would you rather have the Squier Hello Kitty or the Loog Pro Electric? Pink.
So I'm gonna get the Squier Hello Kitty listed on Reverb because those went crazy expensive for no reason.
Yes.
Find the local guitar center and just get the run-of-the-mill Mexican Telecaster and maybe like an Epiphone or a Gretsch Electromatic and rip half the strings off with the money from just this Squier Hello Kitty, just because those have gone up so much.
Well, how about if it's late and all of the guitar centers in
late.
San Jose are closed?
Then just the Squier Hello Kitty, and then halfway through the set, I just cut off half the strings.
Nice.
Yeah. It's the vibe.
I have a feeling that the popularity of the Hello Kitty is from the Do,
The what?
who's on Hello Kitty, or who's on I think Omegle, which is one of the side by side camera things on the internet where you can interface with somebody else, and he's a total shredder that plays this
Plays a
Hello Kitty guitar,
guitar.
but you can't see his face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does he have a cat head on? Maybe
no head.
No head.
No, he's only from the neck down. But he gets on and he's got this kind of silly guitar, and then he just like murders it.
Nice.
Anyways, okay, so Henry's going.
He's going Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty, yes. Now, Henry, if you did go with the Hello Kitty, I do have a suggestion that I think could actually become a big seller. If you actually replaced the Hello Kitty with a lamb face.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
I mean, there you go. And
That's the move.
for those that don't know, just go check out all the Instagram and the Starcrawler and the Henry, and you'll get it. There's the thing with the lambs. We didn't
Those
get into that, but
Those come with a humbucker too, right?
Yeah, just one humbucker and two controls. All you need.
yeah.
Pretty cool setup.
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
I just ordered a Squire
Oh, which one?
with one pickup. I think it's called the Esquire, like a it's like this black
Paranormal.
tele-custom looking paranormal Esquire.
Oh.
And we had a friend that was our front of house engineer and a huge gearhead that basically inspired all of our custom ventures. This guy named O, and his Instagram was Otisserie for all you gearheads
Oh, yeah,
out
yeah,
there
yeah.
that might have seen it.
He's been mentioned on the show a couple times.
Yeah, we lost him a few months ago, which was a big impact on all of our lives, because whenever something gear related happened, that was my first phone call, first text for anything. And he toured with us as our front of house for a couple years, but he was really into parts casters, and the whole reason why I mainly play Fender and all that good stuff. But I have a DiMarzio pickup of his, like a super hot rails one, that I'm gonna put in this Squire body, and then I got this really fat all parts neck because I know he loved fat necks. And
Now,
just,
did you get the one that is like a 72 Tele Deluxe?
yeah,
The big guard one?
Big guard.
Because I think that one has, looks like it has a wide range humbucker in it.
yeah. So I'm gonna I have a sheet of pink pick guard, and just gonna put a single coil sized DiMarzio hot rail thing in there.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
measures like 20K or something crazy.
Wow.
That's a hot single coil.
And I think it's a humbucker, but it's just the size of a single coil.
Right.
But it's going to be a cool guitar, and every time me and my brother play it, it'll remind us of the legend of what is O.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to have in your life. I like that.
Yeah.
And sorry for the loss of your friend, of
Yeah,
course.
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, what are you doing?
I, too, am going to go with the Squire Hello Kitty. I'm going to play it for the gig, and then I'm going to sell it for the ridiculous amount of money that they're going for right now.
There you go.
Plus, I don't really have time to. I guess the Lug is fairly straightforward since it's set up like the last three strings on a guitar. So, that would be easy enough to kind of relearn or to play around with. But yeah, I think I just can't. I mean, I remember when those Hello Kitty things came out and everyone just laughed at them because I think they were $99 or something like that. And now you can't touch them for under $1,000.
Yeah.
So,
Better go grab all those Hannah Montana guitars too, everybody.
well, maybe not so much.
Yeah, we can force something.
Yes. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm gonna make this a
trifecta.
A trifecta. Thank you. Yeah, I mean that just makes sense because it would be fun and it would be crazy. Just kind of interesting to have that, and then you could say, here, little kid, have a little kid guitar, get out of here, and be off with it.
No,
I like that.
That's sweet.
Yes. And I put a gold sparkle pickguard on it. So.
Of course. Painted black and then put a gold sparkle pickguard on it.
All right. Henry, we are rounding third and we are heading to home right now. So we just need to thank a few people and then we'll let you get on and make some music.
Cool.
Tony?
Well, that's right, because at this point of the show, Todd, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate.
It's really easy to do.
Yeah, become a sponsor, a hero.
A hero.
Of the podcast. And each level comes with some very, very nice thank you gifts and giveaways. You heard about the giveaways earlier. Well, there's more coming.
There's a lot.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
So, but there's one thing more as an executive producer that you get. Jared, what is that?
You get to have a name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. That's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterle, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pampas, David Tyndall, Trevor Ellenberg, and Christopher Logan.
Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. But Todd, there's more because we have a special group of executive producers. These are our grand poobahs. This fine group of people have a very beautiful fez to wear upon their head whilst listening to the podcast. So special thanks to these grand poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Van Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, and Matt Hart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed. You guys keep the show going. We want to keep it going. And if you're not on that list, boy, could we use your help. We would love to have you on as a patron. Please consider it. And we thank you. Henri Cash, where, again, we're going to remind them, where can people find the things that you're doing?
Instagram is probably the best place to be up to date with what's going on.
Perfect.
I believe.
Yeah. And what's the, you're heading out on tour in September?
In September, we're going to be doing some shows, I believe, in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's close.
Yeah. Festival.
Okay, well, we're going to keep our eyes on that. And if you're around those areas, just check in on their stuff and see where maybe they're coming to an awesome place near you. So definitely you want to go see Henri do his thing. Tony, how about yourself?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things I have available online. But by and large, what I do is custom work. So if you need a custom pickguard, shoot over to the site. Click on the email link and send me a message, and I will take good care of you.
Perfect. You can shoot me.
I didn't even realize that's who. I just saw that account this week.
Oh,
I didn't realize you were the Pick Guardian.
that is me. I am the
He
Pick
is
Guardian.
the Pick Guardian, yes.
Pick Guardian of Pick Guards.
Yes. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram. Please send us your messages. We love to hear from you. Your would you rathers too. If you think you can do better than what Tony came up with, well, I dare you.
I double dog dare ya.
Double dog dare you. And also, we by the time you hear this, we will have just thrown out another single out into the world. So please go check out Spotify, check out the Valentinos, and we appreciate your listening ears. And if you want to throw rocks at me for it, that's cool. And if not, then that's cool too. We'll just do a digital high five over the ether. And I appreciate you guys listening.
Hey, what about those stomper pedals?
The stompers, yes. If you have, look, there are thousands of you that have the HX Stomp, and you are in peril. Your knobs are in peril. You need to protect your knobs.
Protect your knobs.
Go to Flint Effects and get yourself a Stomper. It's going to protect your knobs, and it looks cool, too.
Yeah.
What else do you want me to say about that? And they're cheap. Just support it. Do it. Go get the things. Henry, it has been an absolute delight talking with you on the show. I'm so glad we finally got you on. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Everybody else that is not Henry, have a fantastic guitar. Well, Henry, you have a fantastic guitar week too.
Come on.
But everybody else also have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe.
Yep. Come on now, touch me, baby.
Bum, sticky bum.
It just doesn't get more perfect than this. Doesn't get. Can I just say that? It
Doesn't get more perfect. Okay.
It doesn't get more perfect.
Does it always get better?
It does, but you'll definitely need your headphones.
Yeah.
If at any point in time you're like, hey, I got to use the bathroom, I need something to drink, I need to stand up, I need to reconsider my life. I don't know.
My life's choices.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What?
Let's see.
Henry.
Oh yeah, this is Tony across from me. Sorry.
Please ignore Todd's rudeness. I'm Tony.
Nice to meet you, Tony.
Nice to meet you too.
Whenever I mute, my headphones stop working.
Wondering if you have like just even a shirt or something you can lay over the top, so it might help just cut it a little bit. Woo-wee. Henri Cash in a t-shirt. Let's go.
Record it.
Yeah.
Quick.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page, and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.